Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I'm your host, PattSun, and today we're going to be taking a look at r/relationship advice, where karma finally struck a cheater. Let's begin. Wife of 11 years cheated for over a year. Karma. Posted by Reddit user Overseer77. English isn't my first language, so please bear with me. This is the story of my friend, more like he's my rival, but I always admired him. He's one step ahead of me in everything, but we were each other's bros. For his privacy, let's call him William and his wife, Jane. The names aren't real. So fast forward, William married Jane when he was 23 and she was 25. And they had a boy together. They met while they were trekking and things went smooth. Jane was a smooth talker and a good woman. My wife is suffering from breast cancer and she was there for her. Like Jane was something sort of an older sister for my wife. William never complained about her. But over a year ago, he mentioned Jane is super protective about her phone and acting cold. He said to me they didn't have sex for over 6 months. And each time when he tries to initiate intimacy, she refuses. Even on their wedding anniversary, she came home at 4 in the morning. I knew there was a bunch of red flags, and I told him that probably she might be seeing someone else. He said that he was suspecting it for a long time, but he didn't want to believe that was a possibility. So it kept going on, like she became a rare visitor to my wife. So I told my wife his problem. So she agreed to identify it in a sneaky way. After the sneaky talk with my wife told me she's seeing a guy but they are platonic and he's a great mechanic. I knew where this was going and my wife knew it too. I told William about the situation, but he said Jane wouldn't do that. I'm sure. She's my girl. She wouldn't do such an act. I told him to hire a private investigator so we can at least be okay. So he hired a private investigator, but he couldn't find any suspicious activities. After 3 months of investigating, he came up with a photo. That's all he got. She was holding hands with a guy going to the theater. So he called me, telling me he needed to talk. He looked like a total mess, like a guy who lost everything. He smiled at me and said, "What have I done wrong?" I knew he was in a suicidal condition. So me and him went to a bar and drank to bottom. And he opened up like she was not who I thought she was. She never do household chores for over 3 months. And she only cares about our boy. All she gives me is a forehead kiss before and after bed. She tells me she's either tired or wants some space. What do I do? I knew he was broken on the inside. Over the days, I told him that he's not alone and he should have a strong mind. Our friend circle and a lot of other guys supported him. Over time, he realized that she ain't shit, so he went outside their marriage and hooked up with a woman at his work. We are in the same company but in different departments. Both of them were digital artists. So William met Helena. She was much younger than him. He introduced her to me and said, "I'm gonna enjoy my life." She was like a model, like video game spy characters. They had several hookups and they act just like a couple would. He was happy and never cared about Jane. Things started to turn when Jane noticed him being happy and felt like he's been distant. So she confronted me and asked whether William was seeing someone and how's he doing. But I lied. On Christmas, she confessed to her husband that she was having an affair for over a year, that she now realizes how precious their marriage is and how amazing William is. William hid his tears and asked her about the details. She said it was a mistake and it's over and they can be together again. He said it's over between them and he needs a divorce and asked her to leave. She went to her mom's house and kept calling and texting all day. During this time, William had made a separate account and moved all of his funds in there and opened a new account and several new banks. William withdrew from their joint account and kept half of the money for her. She cried and begged not to divorce her. By the time that William had moved on, Jane made a suicide attempt and told William that she'll do anything and she couldn't live without him. William didn't even bother to visit her at the hospital. After the discharge, she came to his house and told all of this. He said he needed some clarification and asked her to start talking. If she lies, no second chances, nothing. She told him that he was a local mechanic and she felt lonely and she missed her youth, so she wanted to feel it again. So first, it started out by her car breaking down and then meeting him, exchanged their numbers, and then over a month, it turned sexual. The relationship was a hot and steamy affair. He wanted to know where she was at their son's birthday and their anniversary. She told him that she was with the affair partner and she was having sex when he called her for their son's birthday, but she told him that she was busy at work. And in their anniversary, she went out for a ride with the affair partner and had several sex that day. She even brought him in the apartment. William was crushed hearing that and called her names from A to Z. She says she's sorry and think about their son and they could be their parents again. He said it was a mistake meeting her. He's fed up with her and she's just dead meat to him. She held his legs and begged him not to leave her, that she'll do anything, and that the affair partner doesn't mean a thing to her. Her affair partner was a 27-year-old guy who cheated on Jane and dumped her a week before Christmas. She was emotionally attached to the affair partner. Me and William knew it. After several pleading and counseling, William took her back. Not because he loved her, it's because he didn't have a choice. In our country, adultery is a fault in divorce. But in order to do so, you need hard evidence. If you can't prove it, well, then you're fucked. You need hard proof to win against her in court. And William didn't have any. He was busy with Helena all the time, but he had other plans in mind. He laid rules. She had no choice but to accept it. Number 1, cleaning the household is her duty, and also laundry. Number 2, she has to obey anything he says, or else she's out. Number 3, always ready for sex, whenever he wants, and should do any acts he says. Number 4, all of her email, phone, and account details and passwords should be known to him. William became cold towards her. After sex, he kicks her out of the room and says that it's his bed and she can sleep in the guest bedroom. And oftentimes he comes home very late at night. He calls her by first name and shouts and curses at her for silly mistakes. She soon found out about Helena and confronted him, and he told her that the doors are always open and she can leave anytime she likes. Jane often visits my wife and asks for advice on what to do to save her marriage. She gives tips and advice. My wife is really sad for Jane. Jane told my wife that she often gets rejected and William never lets her sleep in the same bed. And one day, she dresses up and went to him, but she made fun of her instead and told her to grow up. She's a mess now. Even I feel pity for her. William often says to his girlfriend that his wife is an old cow and she ain't good as she is. Things get cruel when she learns William is going on a business trip with Helena. It shattered her and William just told her that he's not hers anymore and they're just friends now. But I knew exactly what they were. And in the company party, we were supposed to bring our spouses to it. Jane was looking forward to this, but William turned her down and said they needed to work things out first. So he went single, but he was with Helena all along. Helena was understanding, and they were like a couple. They do everything a couple would do. William told Helena that he would leave Jane when his son is 18, and he told me that too. He treats her like shit. He doesn't do physical abuse, but does it mentally, like if she doesn't clean the table right, he would say, Mr. Mechanic would do that. And if there's anything she doesn't do in the bedroom, he mentions her infidelity and guilt trips her into doing it. I don't know how or where this is going to end. I think he stayed because of his son. He doesn't care about money, but he's ruthless to Jane now. They had been going on like this. Jane comes to my wife for solace. This is long because the incidents happen over a 2-year time span. I'm hoping both of them finds peace. Wow, okay, that took a cruel turn. So one thing that we can't deny is that Jane is a piece of trash. Let's go over some of the things that she did. She cheats on her husband, had a hot and passionate affair for over a year, chose having sex with her affair partner over attending her own son's birthday, missed their anniversary so that she could have some fun with the said affair partner, only ended the affair because her affair partner dumped her, attempted suicide to guilt her husband, and uses her son as a weapon so that he wouldn't divorce her. Definitely a piece of shit move. I have no sympathy for Jane. These are the consequences of her actions. But won't this get used against William? I mean, there is some sort of emotional and verbal abuse going on. Another thing I wanted to point out is that William himself is openly having an affair, technically. And OP just mentioned that infidelity is a fault in his country. All Jane needs is proof, which will be easy if he's that open with his relationship with Helena. Couple that with what William is doing here to Jane, this could easily come back to bite him in the ass. If Jane decides to divorce him, he will lose everything he has. He might even end up in jail. Why not just divorce now if he really doesn't care about the money? Don't tell me it's because of his son, because what they're doing is much worse for the kid. Seeing your dad constantly angry and full of hate for your mother, and learning that your mother chose having sex with another man over attending your own birthday? That's really gonna fuck up any kid. Being in an environment where your parents are constantly fighting and hurting each other is much worse than just simply getting a divorce and explaining to him later exactly what happened. I really feel bad for this kid. He's gonna need a lot of therapy. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you even somewhat enjoyed today's story, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and if you really like it, make sure to subscribe to PattSun to never miss a future upload. Stay strong.